And 16 or 18, just which of the two should be the age of consent in Kenya? Members of the National Assembly have suggested an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act of 2006 to reduce the consensual age from 18 to 16. Now today, the Nyanza Initiative for Girls' Education and Empowerment protested against the proposed amendment. FIDA says there is a lot of mischief going on about the proposed law.
18 and 16, 16 and 18. What difference does 2 years really make? In Kenya, 18 is the age of consent. There was an amendment to the Sexual Offences Act presented last year to Parliament through the statute law, the Miscellaneous Amendment Bill of 2016. A notice to the public created an impression that there was the intention to lower the age for sexual consent from 18 to 16. The Nyanza Initiative for Girls' Education and Empowerment, NIGE's rejection of it is unequivocal.
Let's get out of school. And so the argument that I've seen being advanced is that, oh, we are talking about a 17-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old girl. Fine. But when you have a problem with your finger, do you cut the whole hand? I know the Bible says so, but it's not literal. You don't cut the whole hand.
They're not the only ones. Muslim clerics and the Kenya Film and Classification Board have also strongly rallied against any such proposed amendment, saying that it is okay to protect children, but it is wrong to handle it from the perspective of this law. But going by global trends, Kenya is a late bloomer compared to the age of 12 in Mexico, 13 in the Koreas, 14 in Canada, 12 in Angola, and 13 in Burkina Faso, 15 in Sweden. The average global limit is 16 years. It is criminal for anybody to have sex with a girl under the age of 18. But if the proposed amendment goes through, it will be legal for 16-year-olds to engage in sex. The amendment has already gone through the first reading. The public also invited to present their views on the 27th of December last year. The Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya states their position.
As FIDA, what we did, we sent a memorandum to Parliament. Our memorandum was sent, I think, on the 26th of December, because the closing date was the 27th. And we are opposed to any changes that will see the age of consent reduced from what is in the Constitution, which is 18 years, to any other age.
And so if the finger is the 17-year-old boy who is having so-called consensual sex with a 16-year-old, why don't we then go at the sentencing level, at the court level, and get that reduced or that addressed, rather than having a universal reduction in the age?
When assented to, such a proposed law will give room for a review of the punishment meted on sexual offenders by considering the age gap between the offender and the victim.
So what the National Council for Justice had written, for Administration of Justice had written to Parliament, was that can we have what we call the Romeo and Juliet clauses? These are clauses in law that allow judicial officers, when they are sentencing offenders, especially very young people. Let's say the boy is 19, 16, 17. They consider the age gap between these two people. And I think that's where now there was a problem, that it looked like there was a call to reduce the age of consent.
Latest data from the Kenya Domestic Health and Demographics Survey, however, shows that adolescents aged between 10 and 19 are not as innocent as many may believe. By age 15, 12% of girls have already engaged in sex, while 22% of boys have done the same. 13,000 Kenyan girls drop out of school annually due to unintended and early pregnancy, compounded with institutionalized early marriage, sponsor culture mentality, defilement offences. Such a proposed amendment pokes at a small part of a larger problem.
You send out a notice, no bill. So what are we commenting on? The notice. The notice is not a bill. The mischief was in the notice from Parliament. The mischief was in how the notice was framed and how the changes were being whatever. But when we interrogated the bill, it didn't have those changes.
Be that as it may, legally, at 18, one becomes an adult. At 16, still 2 years shy. Black and white. Unlike the grey patch, this amendment, whose progress Parliament will determine. Dorcas Wangira, KTN News.